So, you want to know what street scrapping is? Chances are you might live in a big city. It's got abandoned places like this. There's a piece of metal, that's an old TV right there. Now, this is someone else's property. I don't mean for anyone to take this stuff. But I just wanted to show you a lot of this artwork and stuff in here. I really wasn't expecting to see that kind of metal. Actually, look at that. Shoot. Look at those green lights. Those are worth money, as far as I know. Those are in style. Those dudes are in style these days. Huh. I wasn't expecting to run into this thing. A radiator, big steel rims, giant pieces of steel. Shoot. There's a small fortune sitting in this little shack. But it's someone else's property, so. There's a bunch of those green lights in there too. Shoot. But you know, if you found a place like this, there's no problem with you tracking down the owner and asking them, you know, if you can come clean this mess up. There's a small fortune of metal in there. And this is an old cement company. It's not like a quarry or nothing. This isn't where they got their materials, but that's just like their old headquarters. And there's still some kind of viable business that runs out of this place, but it's all located up in the very front. But I figured this would be a good place to start a street scrapping video, because it doesn't get a whole lot more street than this. This place has been abandoned for, oh shoot, at least 10 years. This back part of it, as you can tell. There's another old TV. I don't have a problem with taking that right there. I'll have that mess. Obviously no one cares about it, but shoot. I could spend all day back here. Since I took that piece of glass, I'll go ahead and find a nice dumpster to put that instead of throwing it back down there. But yeah, I don't think there's a problem with, you know, picking a little copper yoke out of there. But I'm not gonna do a whole lot more. Shoot. Hell, since I'm here, this is just garbage. No one cares about this. I'll go ahead and take it. I intended on just running through here and showing you that street artwork and starting a video going to different locations. But you know, if you find a place like this and you talk to the owner and get permission to come in here and clean this crap up, you know, they might just let you do it for free. Shoot, they might even pay you a little something, you know. Because, I mean, and if you're set up for big jobs, you know, you got a flatbed trailer and heavy equipment, that there is a giant piece of metal. I mean, it's just enormous. So, imagine how much that thing weighs. That's steel. I think it's an old, maybe a old train car? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm looking at there. Anyways. I might have to come back and explore this place one of these days. I've never made one of those exploration videos like you see on YouTube, but this might be an interesting place. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you want to see me come crawl around to some of these cracks and crevices and stuff. And I'm gonna go ahead and take this little piece of metal here, this old TV. That's just a piece of garbage laying here that nobody cares about. Ouch. Ooh. All kinds of garbage laying around here. I wouldn't be surprised if the city were to tell them to clean this junk up. All right, onward. We're gonna go over this long street over here, hit a bunch of dumpsters, see what we can find laying around. You might recognize this area from some of my real-time videos. I'm not gonna make a real-time video out of this. My real-time videos are where I just keep the camera going the whole time. And that's gonna be neat to watch, but I don't wanna bore you guys making those videos every time. So this one is just gonna be when I find stuff. What little good. Hi kitties. One thing I see a lot of dumpster diving is there'll be these feral cats and people will start feeding them. Yeah, that's a real pretty white cat in there. Hi kitty cat, you pretty. And a fairly young cat, about 6-7 months old right there. And see, people start feeding them, and you know, they do that out of the kindness of their heart. You know, they do it to be nice, but there's a problem that arises with it. See, there's some sealed VCR tapes down there. Indiana Jones. Might have to have those. Look at those. Look at that right there. Look at that. What do you think? Sealed. I wouldn't be that interested in them if they weren't factory sealed. That's a nice little deal right there. What do you think? Have to have a look at those. What else are we dealing with in there? VCR tapes are pretty much worthless, but when you start finding sealed ones that are collectible, that's a different story. That looks like I can see it. Oh, it's a heavy suitcase. You never know what could be in these. It doesn't feel like kitchen garbage. A lot of times people will stuff their kitchen garbage bags into these old nasty bags and just get rid of the whole thing. I don't think that's what's in this one. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Hey, look at that. A video a while back, I talked about these bags and how there'll be kitchen bags in there, kitchen garbage bags, and if it's not kitchen garbage bags or something really nice, it'll be like electronics with copper cords and stuff. And that's just exactly what I was talking about right here. That's actually, oh shoot, the knob's missing. I found some other cord in there. Fioni? Hopefully that's not valuable. Yeah, I know. I need to get a new pair of gloves. I understand. Anyone out there watching, you should always wear some sort of protection. I'm just so experienced at doing this, I could pretty much dive in here wearing a Speedo and be fine, just out of experience. But if you go out and do this, you always want to, of course, be dressed safely, and safety glasses always recommended, without a doubt. Little can opener. Those have little heavy motors inside of them. I'm not going to take the motor out of that. I'm just going to sell it as is, because that's just one of the things that's time consuming. Take all the screws out and, you know, get a 10-cent motor out of that thing, where you can just put no labor into it, cut the cord off and get 5 cents for it. You know, a pound, that is, for shred. Same deal with this one. There's a nice heavy motor in this one, and oh shoot, it's jammed on there. There we go. Nice little heavy motor in that dude. And some scrapyards will even give you dirty motors, which will be a little better price than 10 shred. But see, the thing is I call it micro scrapping. You know, you go around taking the time to clean all these stuff. Actually, this one I could probably throw on the ground. And dang it, that's a slippery little dude. That's just one thing I do out street scrapping. If you want to get your motor out or something, just bust it open like that. Make sure you pick up all your pieces though. That's the problem doing it in cold weather. During the winter time, this plastic will get real brittle, and it'll just shatter into tiny little pieces. But during it in the summertime, it works pretty good. And you can see how small the motor is in that. You know what I mean? I mean, if you take the time to take a screwdriver or even an electric screwdriver and take those screws out and clean that all up and get clean motor, you know, that motor weighs a pound and you're gonna get 10 cents for it, you know. Whereas you can do zero labor. I just cut that cord off, of course, and just take the whole thing in there like that, throw it in your tin shed pile for 5 cents a pound. You know, it's just, I think there's a lot of misconception out there when it comes to scrapping videos on YouTube. And just a lot of stuff, it really doesn't make sense to sit there for hours and clean stuff, because you know, you're taking the motors out of something like that and you're gaining 3 cents, maybe 3 to 5 cents. So you got to think about that. You know, that's just the time factor is something I hear very rarely in scrapping videos. There we go. A little smashed up iPhone. Oh no, that's not the right case. That thing's beat up pretty bad. I'll send that to board sort though. I think phones like that are about $3.50 a pound. So that one there is worth about $1. Well, this dumpster got interesting. Maybe I better have a closer look at it. No, garbage. Yeah, but like, see, like how it's thrown out on the ground. You know, I mentioned safety glasses first. You don't want to do stuff like that without wearing safety glasses. I'll go ahead and, just in case someone new to scrapping is watching my videos, you always cut the cords off like this. Cut the plugs off. Like that. And my recommendation is just throw that in your tin shed pile or your dirty motors pile, whatever your scrapper wants to do. You go around taking the time to clean the motor out of that thing to get 10 cents a pound, even 15 cents a pound for clean motors if you can get a price like that. It just doesn't make sense, because you're only making, you know, 3 to 8 cents, what have you. And same thing goes for these. You can sell these plugs as is. Scrap yards will give you some sort of price for that. And if you go like this, if you go around taking these prongs out, oh, that's an old strong one. See, and you see that's see how difficult that can be sometimes. It's not something, anything similar to any kind of work you just want to do. It's just not something. And that little tiny piece of brass, it doesn't weigh anything, and you just don't make money doing stuff like that. You know, and I know there's people out there that might have a problem with what I'm saying, but it's just true. Just sell the whole plug. Don't do that kind of labor. It's nonsense. Just move on to something else. There's other things out there. There's other things more profitable than doing that. Because time is the only real commodity. What's up, man? How's it going? See, and a lot of times you don't even need snips. Like, say you're just out on the street, you don't have your snips, and you find something like this. See, that's how they went through the Goodwill once. Look at that. I'd have a look at that if a knob was present, but it's not. You just go like that. See, you just pull the cord right off the back. That's an option if you're just out there on the streets, you know. Purses are always fun. That was filthy, gross, disgusting though. Oh! A little rabbit ear action and a very sharp knife. So dumpster diving is dangerous. I've said it many, many times, and you probably don't want to keep listening to me say it, but be careful. So here's another thing you do when you find stuff like this. Just rip that cord off your back like that. See how that goes, and then you just take these antennas are made out of brass. Nice clean brass. Sometimes they'll be steel. That's my magnet right there you check stuff with. Nice clean brass. And they're not heavy, but they're not light neither, and they're always worth taking. And that's just a big piece of plastic with like a little tiny cheap worthless circuit board in it. And let's see what we're missing. I feel like I'm missing something around here somewhere. I see how I grab these bags. I can show you when I'm not wearing gloves. You don't grab them with your fingertips. You always want to grab them with your knuckles. See what I'm saying? Like this. See that? See how I got that? See how I got that? There's no fingertips in there at all. See? And that keeps them from ripping. It sounds like a stupid piece of information, but that'll save you a lot of nastiness. You might not see me doing that when I'm wearing gloves, you know. See, that's how I throw them around. See, got a heavy bag or something here. Oh, big bag of dangerous stuff. Look at that. Look at that. I see you just, sometimes you'll see me jumping into dumpsters, but I'm very experienced and I just know what to look for out of experience. So there's stuff like this in there. So don't ever just jump in there without knowing what you're doing. Those knives actually have quite a bit of weight to them. They don't take up much room, so I always take those. And also grabbing bags with your knuckles. That also prevents you from getting poked a lot and stuff. This is something I've doing on second nature that I maybe never mentioned to you before. Clothes and stuff. I mean, look at the amount of clothes that are in here. You wonder why I don't take more stuff and I don't keep some stuff. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Look at that little phone battery. Take that. Little lithium ion batteries are worth money. If your scrapyard doesn't buy them, you can send them to places like boardsort.com. And I think there's another place out there that people have mentioned in the comments called cashforcomputers.com, I think is the name of it. And they're the same thing as board sort. And their prices will go back and forth. And you might get better prices at one place than the other. But it's not, they're gonna be fairly similar, so. Washing, dishwasher, those are plastic. They will have a nice size motor on the back, but I think that's the one that used to sit back there in the woods. And I got the motor off of it. I got the motor off of that thing a long time ago. I took the good stuff. Yeah, I think that's that one. This is the next dumpster after where I was just at. And see, a lot of times you'll see me pass up stuff like this, but it's because I have enough. I don't need that, you know. They're a nice clean packing envelope, but I have enough of those. I mean, I'm already stocked up on those, so a lot of times you see me pass stuff up. Oh, look at that dog. Oh goodness. And scrapyards where I live stop taking stuff like this. Even if you chop it in half, they still don't take it. Of course, that one says non-flammable, but they just don't take bottles that look like that because it scares the death out of the mill operators and stuff. Where you live, maybe you can sell that. But see, there's a nice piece of brass on there that you can take off. These things can be real dangerous. There's a release valve over here. You always want to make sure they're totally drained before you ever mess with it. And if you don't know exactly what you're doing, I suggest just leaving them alone. And I don't have my channel locks on me or my hammer, so that's why I'm not going to take the brass off of it, because there's a nice chunk of brass on top of there. I need to remember to get my channel locks. I've been meaning to do that. They got stolen off my motorcycle a long time ago, so I stopped carrying them. But I need to put a pair back in my bucket. But even channel locks usually won't. You usually won't be able to take those brass fittings off those tanks like that with just channel locks, because they're usually on there extremely tight. And I've always had to just take a hammer to them and just pound them off of there. But if you're not confident you know how to get those things drained, it doesn't have to be flammable gas neither. Oxygen and carbon dioxide and non-flammable gas containers can be just as dangerous, because if you don't release all that pressure out of there and you pop that tap off of there, it's just like a missile, man. It's just, I probably should just edit that thing out, but I'll probably leave it in because it's good information for people out there. You know, them big steel tanks might literally be unsellable and be totally worthless. So there's no harm in just leaving those things sit where you see them and just not even messing with them. Here's a little little wine cooler deal. I think that's what that is, some kind of little fridge or something. See, I used to take all these compressors and cut the copper out of here, but I stopped doing it, and it could be Freon in there, and it might not be Freon, and I don't know. It's just something I'm definitely not gonna make a video out of. That's one thing, doing stuff on an individual level. That's a whole other thing to expand it into thousands of viewers. But I mean, even if I wasn't making a video, I stopped messing with them. See, those refrigerators are really lightweight once you take that compressor out of the back. That compressor's about probably more than half the weight of that thing, maybe 3/4 of the weight of that thing. And going back to that air tank though, just if you're not confident you know how to drain them properly, and you don't know if it's drained, just, I mean, that pound of brass sitting on top of there is not worth you losing an eyeball or your life, because that's exactly what could happen if people were to open those things up while they're still under pressure. So when it comes to scrapping and dumpster diving, when in doubt, just don't do it. There's more important things than money. Dumpsters are extremely unfriendly places. There's all kinds of nasties in there that'll get you. So, you know, I mean, like, if I were to get in there, right, just looking in here for a second, I know I'm stepping on that, and then taking a step down there and holding on up here, and I always have myself balanced with my hands on these edges in a way where if I lose footing, my leverage is proper, and it's not going to hurt me at all. I'm just going to control myself, hold myself up, and got a little Batmobile action. Check out that thing. I've never seen a 4x4 Batmobile. Yeah, just don't go jumping in dumpsters recklessly if you've never done it before. You see me doing this and I make it look like it's, you know, like I'm walking up a set of stairs or walking down a sidewalk. It's just I don't mean to give the wrong impression to anyone. Oh, she's a little pooch. Oh, a little pooch. Oh. Why don't you just get a saddle? Little dime action. I see. You might think, well, he always stops and picks up those coins off the ground, you know, and then he says not to scrap little stuff, but aluminum pan, that's about worth 30 cents right there. But see, that was a dime, so it took me about 2 seconds to pick up that dime like that, or give or take. Let's just call it 2 seconds. And at 2 seconds picking up a dime, that equals $180 an hour. And if it was a penny and it took me 2 seconds to pick that thing up, then that'd be about $18 an hour. There's a Pizza Hut sign down there, but it's missing its magnets and everything. Sometimes if you find pizza delivery signs that are intact and pizza bags and stuff, if you take them back to the restaurant, lots of times pizza restaurants will give you a reward for bringing back that kind of stuff, because those are expensive little boogers. And they're pizza bags, you know, the delivery hot bags and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for over 10 years, so I learn new things every day. But when I talk specifically about doing things and not doing things that I've learned from experience, Yeah, I'm not telling you assumptions or opinions. I'm telling you real life experience, fact, and I mean, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. There's absolutely terrible videos on YouTube. There's videos out there that can mislead people into not being able to pay their rent and pay their bills and put food on their table. And I know that for a fact. So in my videos, when I say something, it's backed up by fact. But you know, I mean, if you want to do something for fun or for a hobby, and I don't see how micro scrapping metal, I don't see how that's fun or a hobby or a way to stay active for anyone. It's more like torture. So, and there's various levels of things you can scrap. Sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're kind of in the middle. And you know, I'm not here telling anyone what to do. And I'm just telling you the facts as I've learned them. And you know, there could be all kinds of opinions in the comments, and opinions are worthless when it comes to facts. So like another thing, you know, while I'm on the subject, stripping copper wire. Like stripping this kind of wire. You might see videos saying to strip wire, and this is a total waste of time to strip that. It's got 3 other insulations inside, and the copper is just tiny, and you strip that heavy insulation off of there, and then you don't get the money for the insulation, and that insulation weighs something, and it's literally worth money as it is. You know what I'm saying? Like the copper in that might be 50% of the weight. So for one thing, it's just not possible to strip that kind of wire. I mean, you could come in and say, well, you do it, and you know, this and that, and you can tell me all you want that you don't do it for money and you don't do it for a living, and you're just staying active, and you're just doing it for a hobby. Well, I don't make hobby videos. I make videos showing people how to make money. I'm doing it to make money. And most of my audience is between the age of 34 and 55, men and women. And there's very few kids watching this. And I know from looking at my analytics and my numbers, I know why people are watching my videos. And it's not because it's either based out of entertainment, little brassy bits, or the fact they want to make some extra money. You know, how you doing? I see somebody just cut the cords off them TVs. You can take the time to scrap that out if you want. But I skip them frequently because it's time consuming to do it properly. And prices are down right now, so you know, it's maybe $2 worth of copper in there and another $1 worth of skibble scabble. So I can make maybe $6 if I scrap them right now. So, you know, I mean, that's something you can do. But I'm just gonna leave them there. And yeah, I cut the cords off of them. Good. Those things need to go away. I'm tired of them. Hazardous waste laying around all over our society. I don't care if I cut the cords off them or not. They need to be destroyed. And there's other scrappers around here. Liable to come and take care of them. See, and this is a lot of times when it comes to scrapping, people don't understand the value of time. Like earlier I said time is worth more than money. And you know, I take the time to scrap those out properly, and I miss out on getting down the road further. And like, see these pans? That's 60 cents or so right there. Just, you know, zero labor. You know, it's just done. Well, I mean, I'll have to take these handles off, I suppose. But oh, we got a stubborn one. But other than just doing that to them, there's just zero labor. So like this, I'll shoot that might be 4 or 5 pounds altogether. You know, just that's the kind of stuff I focus on. Non-labor, zero labor, making money. You know, there's a lot of scrapping things you can do that take time and labor. And I don't think a lot of people understand the value of time. So like, for the next 10 or 15 minutes while I'm out here finding more stuff, making more money, maybe finding a $100 item, you know, that's something I wouldn't find if I was sitting back there relegating myself to making $6 scrapping out those TVs. But you know, if you absolutely need $6 guaranteed to buy dinner for your kids, sure, scrap them TVs out. You know, you guarantee yourself $6. But I just know from experience that if I invest that 10 or 15 minutes into going down the road and finding more stuff, it's much more productive. It can be extremely more productive skipping that cheap stuff and skipping that time. Notice the word time. The time consuming stuff. You know, you can invest time into making an extra $1. But what if you wasted that time, and that time you could have made $10, you know? So that's just micro scrapping. That's something you learn through experience. Here's the perfect example right here. You know, if you were in a truck, you know, and you just skipped those TVs. Well, here's something just right around the corner that you just throw in the back of your truck. Well, you're gonna need someone to help you because that thing weighs. Oh, that might have water in it. Yeah, it's got water in it. But you know, that's a zero labor object right there. You know what I mean? There's no labor involved other than throwing it in your truck and just snipping off these good little pieces of copper. And there's another case of I need my hammer with me. I would take that brass. I need to come prepared, I suppose. But anyways, that's that. You can see that as a perfect example right there. You know, if you were still sitting back there, let me take my sunglasses off because I see what I'm doing. If I was still sitting back there scrapping out them TVs, I wouldn't have found this right away, and who knows what's in store for you going down the road, you know. It's the time issue, the time factor. I talked about it once in a video a while back, my leather jackets video. I'll link it up here right now if you want to have a look at it. I was talking about this exact issue of finding TVs, old CRT TVs in a dumpster, and you know, they're good money scrapping them. You know, they're dangerous if you don't do it properly, but you can make money doing it. But see, the thing is I skipped them and went down the road and found 4 leather jackets, you know, so yeah, in great condition. You know, another issue like that is the electric motors, like the transformers. See that little transformer on there? It's got the copper wire in it. And that circuit board will have a couple of them on there. And you might see videos telling you to scrap electric motors and transformers for their copper, but that's just, it's labor intensive. I mean, you start doing stuff like that, you literally, and there's no way around this fact, you literally relegate yourself to making that set amount of money. And it's hard work on your hands. It's not fun work whatsoever. And it's just the bottom rung manual labor, you know. You wouldn't take a job like that in a factory. So unless you have a very heavy electric motor, there's no reason to scrap electric motors and transformers unless they're big, you know, unless they've got a couple pounds, 5-10 pounds of copper in there. There's really no reason to do that. Just sell the motor as it is. I mean, sure, you can find videos on YouTube showing, you know, someone busting open, you know, a specific kind of motor or transformer. You know, it's got real high copper content, but it's just a waste of time for the most part. While I'm on this kind of subject, let's get to silver plate. Silver plate is basically worthless. And what we have here is a giant piece of brass, silver plated, and shoot, that thing, it might be 8 or 9 pounds. And all the silver plate you see there is worth maybe $8. And $8 sounds good, you know, looking at that one giant piece, but think about people that try to scrap that silver plate out of electronics and stuff, you know, and they're getting those little itty bitty tiny little pieces, you know. I mean, look how massive this thing is, you know. you could put you know, a full work week, you could put hundreds of hours into collecting little bits of silver plated stuff to get that much silver plate, you know. Which of course brings me to the old electrical circuit breakers and the silver contact videos you might see. And it might seem like you can make money doing that, but it's just a hobby. It's not anything practical you're ever gonna do to pay your rent and bills. You know, you can just sell them whole to your scrapyard at, you know, various different prices scrapyards will give you. And it's, you know, I'm not saying there's not silver in there and there's not money in there, but earlier in the video I talked about time. Time is the only commodity in reality, and it's time consuming. There's just no way around that fact. You'd have to do it on an industrial scale, absolutely massive level, to go above hobby level. And I know that's gonna strike some people a little funky, but keep in mind, you know, there's hundreds of thousands of people watching flat earth videos on YouTube that think the earth is flat because videos tell them it is. So it's similar to brainwashing. But anyways, yeah, and like electrical circuit breakers, you can't buy them on eBay and make money refining the silver because there's not enough to pay for the shipping. You know, I mean, there are circuit breakers that are usable and some that might have really high amounts of silver, but it's not, you know, it's not going to be a common thing where you can get thousands and thousands and thousands and consider it money. It's just, no matter what you do, unless you approach, you know, industrial level, massive amounts, you know, it's not something you're ever going to do. Above hobby level, you know, and I'm not making this video to, you know, contradict anyone or make anyone angry or tell them, you know, whatever. I'm just trying to give good information because I know that some of the things can be extremely misleading, and gold fever is a real thing. So if you're out there watching videos on YouTube about how to make money, just be real careful and think out everything, and don't put your rent on the line. Like, I mean, you could go dumpster diving. Like, there's about an hour or so labor I put into this video, and you know, I didn't make a whole lot of money, but you can just look in the garbage and find more money, you know, 100 times more money than you'll ever make, you know, digging silver and gold and stuff out of electronics on, you know, just the average Joe level. It's just not something practical that you're gonna do above hobby level. And think about what you think, you know, think about what you're talking about before you reply in the comments, you know. Like I said earlier in the video, you know, I don't make hobby level videos. You know, I show people how to make money, real ways to make money, you know, not Fantasyland stuff. And here's another thing is Mylars and keyboards. If you're selling them, if the only place you can sell them is online, like on eBay, where you have to pay for shipping to ship it to somebody and stuff, you're just not going to make any money doing it beyond, you know, $4 or $5 an hour. And that's if you work like a robot. You know, like if you got a robot, arm, like you see in factories on production lines, where they have like 6 fingers and they go zzz, 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 and take all the screws out. If you can work like that non-stop for an hour and call it enjoyable, then you might be able to make minimum wage. Now, if you're refining the silver yourself, of course you can make a little more with those Mylars. But it's just basically a total joke if you're selling them on eBay. And if you don't believe me, the overwhelming thing is that you have to enjoy taking these screws out non-stop for an hour. You know, that has to be something you could call enjoyable work, because there's 13 screws in this thing. So basically you would work like you're a robot non-stop and sell them on eBay for $4 or $5 an hour. And that's if you work like a robot.